Your accountant can't work magic without the right documents. Today, we break down the 5 things creatives must send to avoid delays, extra fees, and back and forth emails.
Your creative genius deserves the same precision behind the numbers.
Welcome to Let's Get Fiscal, hosted by Anastasia, Maisha, and Danielle.
Part of the women-led team at Coterie Tax.
From smart tax moves to cash flow strategy, we decode everything it takes to run a thriving creative business
so you can scale with confidence and sleep easy at night.
Press play and let's grow your business.
All right, so we are back. My name is Anastasia. I am a CPA and an enrolled agent. Here to talk about taxes with...
I'm Maisha, and I'm here for the vibes, and also to ask all of the questions that you guys have there at home listening to us.
Yep. So this week, I wanted to talk about what your CPA needs in order to file your tax return.
I think this is a solid episode. It's a lot of the stuff that I'm asking for people. So this works out nicely. So where do we even begin?
I know. I think that there's, kind of 2 schools of thought, especially when you come with tax preparers. There's the one that just says, okay, we'll just dump everything on my desk and I'll go through it and I'll let you know what else I need. Or there's the other ones that are a little bit more methodical and they give you like a 40-page organizer that's asking you a whole bunch of questions, half of which don't apply to you. And it always looks like very overwhelming to sit down and fill out that piece of paper too. So I wanted to go over kind of what are those big key pieces of information that everybody needs. So what do you get questions about most of the time?
Mainly it's just people asking me, what do they need to give, to give to me? So a lot of that. And then I get a lot of whys as well when I'm asking for like certain items. So like if I'm saying like the 1095A, the healthcare one, like why do I have to go find that? Because a lot of times like that's one where there were other forms that you didn't need, but you do need to have that one to provide. Right. And then like, why do I need this? And if I don't have it, like now where do I go to go get it kind of thing? And,
So the 1095A is paperwork from the healthcare marketplace. So, you have like Colorford, California, or, every state has their marketplace. And when you get health insurance through that system, you tell them how much money you make, and based on how much money you make, they give you a credit to help subsidize the cost of health insurance because you're not getting it through your employer. Normally your employer is paying a little bit of that portion. So they're helping you with that credit, but it is directly tied to your income. So when you file your tax return, if your income is different, either higher or lower, your credit changes. So you can't file, the IRS will not accept your tax return electronically at all unless you have this form in place. And so that, you have to go search and do all the phone calls.
I remember our last deadline being like, hey, I need you to log in to this website and download this form for me, please. Yeah, because they will reject it. And so you can't.
And it's also one of the ones that's not available on your wage and income transcript, really annoyingly. So if you lose a W-2, you lose a 1099.
We can find it.
Yeah. I don't care. I'm good. But this one form, it will get rejected immediately and you will not be able to file without it. So,
So that's one of them. The other is wanting to go and get started with the filing and whatnot, but the financials aren't done yet. And then I'm being like, hey, so we're going to need to get some information here of like, what did you make? Was it commingled? Like that financials are really
so the
paramount.
Profit and loss and the balance sheet and having all your bookkeeping all up to date.
Having the bookkeeping up to date is like paramount. And then just explaining why the balance sheet is important as well, especially when we have, because a lot of our clients are S-Corps. So like we need to have a balance sheet on this tax return. And so why do we need to have that balance sheet on the tax return?
Right. And reconciling the banks. So we need all of your statements. And reconciling a bank account is just a general accounting practice. So every company, they reconcile the bank accounts, whether they have one bank account or I don't know, 75. All of them get reconciled. So we're taking an official document from the bank and comparing it to the accounting software and making sure that they match up and then identifying any differences. And a lot of cases with our smaller businesses, that's really important because the links break.
They break
all the time. Xero, QuickBooks, whatever, it'll always break, and it's good. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing because in a lot of cases it's for security purposes. To make sure that your banking information isn't going who knows where. But sometimes there are errors that occur, or maybe we've had scenarios where the credit card changes. You lose your credit card, so they issue a different number. So then you have all of these payments that are going to your credit card, but the expenses aren't pulling in because it's all tied to the old credit card number. So now you have basically a credit card balance that says that you're paying the credit card company more than what you owe. And normally they give you a loan, not the other way around.
And that shows up on that balance sheet. So that is another way we can do checks and balances.
Exactly.
I do get asked because there are many times where I ask the client to provide me the PDF version of a statement for their bank, but also if we're not doing their books, I do ask for the spreadsheet, like in Excel, just download all your transactions and send them to me. And I do get asked why for that. And I'm like, the statement is so that I can reconcile and make sure we're not missing anything.
Well, because we're looking for the starting balance and the ending balance,
which will not be on the downloadable activity that we get.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so also checks and balances for reconciling. I'm like, I want to make sure nothing's missing. So if I have both forms, then I am good to go. I really shouldn't need anything else from you unless it's a question about the actual activity itself. So financials being done in order to move forward. And then usually I ask a lot of, if you've received any tax documents, take a picture, send it to me. Like, let's get this go. And we can find a lot of stuff ourselves, like you said, with the wage and income transcript, but then that's usually after the filing date and we have to do the extension, everything like that. So if you've received stuff in the mail, send it our way. We if you don't know what to do with it,
email.
we will figure it out. Or email it. Yeah. We have a whole portal. So you take a picture, send it in the app, in the chat. It saves to your tax documents. It's really easy. We love our portal. So we have many, many ways for you to provide us that info, but definitely it helps a lot to see those things.
Making sure that they're not, that if they're password protected, that you give us the password.
Yes. For prior returns, if we didn't do the returns that are other documents that have been given that have a password, tell us the password.
So, but even to that note, having the prior year tax return.
That's
really important. Because there's a lot of information that is included on that prior year tax return. What is your legal name? What is your date of birth? And then it also tells us what are the things that we should be looking for. So if we see that you have interest income in a prior year, we know to ask you for your interest income in this year. And then there's also things like carryovers. So if your business loses money in a previous year, we might be able to use that loss and apply it to your business income this year. But if you don't give us that prior year tax return, then that would just get lost in the abyss and never used, and you lose that. And that happens with selling stock as well. If you have really high losses, you can use up to $3,000 per year against your other income. But if you don't show us your last year return, we won't be able to see that you had losses, also passive income losses, passive activity losses, those PALs. Those carry forward. So we do need a copy of your prior year tax return. And then, like you said, we always start with show me what you got.
And then I'll tell you what I still need.
Exactly. I say, sometimes it's more like information vomit. Don't worry about making it perfect. Just send me everything. And then if there is anything else or I need clarification, then we can kind of go back and we can address it from there. But a lot of it's going to be all the W-2s, all the 1099 NECs that you receive, If you have like Vanguard, Fidelity, Robinhood, they're all going to give you tax documents. The tax document, if you're on the healthcare marketplace, there's also other things, if you have a family trust, we'll need, sometimes we need documents from that. Or if you have investments in publicly traded partnerships, they send information and all of that kind of fun stuff. If you have a rental property, getting the income and the expenses for that rental property. I also like with short-term rentals, normally they send you the 1099K, which we need. So the 1099K is for the income that is processed through like a credit card processing system. But the amount, it is sent to the IRS, but the amount that's sent to the IRS is the full dollar amount.
Yeah, they don't take the fees out.
So I need that 1099K in order to take the fees out. There's the 1098 from your home mortgage because you get to deduct the interest, and then the property taxes add to your state and local income tax on your itemized. Student loans. If you're under a certain income threshold, then you get to deduct a portion of the interest that you pay on the student loan. And then there's also, if you are going to school, there's important paperwork there. So a lot of this is daycare expenses. But only if both spouses are working, because daycare expenses are deductible because you're paying them for you to go to work or school. But if you have a stay-at-home parent, then then you don't get to take advantage of a lot of those. But
speaking of parenting, if you became a parent or had another child, it sounds funny, but we have gotten to an entire tax return just to find out there was a whole other baby that was born. And so if you had a big major life update, just let us know. If we haven't talked to you in a little bit and it wasn't very clear that there was a child on the way at some point, just give us that little heads up. We're just going to need a name, a social, and a birthday. It's nothing too crazy, but we do need to know they exist in order to add them to your return.
Right. So, and that's why I say, it always, you never really expect how detailed the information is that I need about your life. And so that's why sometimes it can just kind of happen in a regular conversation, but I do end up knowing quite a bit.
It's kind of hard not to when you have to provide all of this info.
Did you move somewhere? Did something happen? Did you, go on unemployment for a bit? So then you have your 1099G, we need to know so much information. So that's why a lot of the organizers are very comprehensive, because they're trying to capture every single scenario that could happen, across 600 different clients that they're going to be preparing. So
exactly. So don't let it overwhelm you. If it doesn't fit for you, just keep moving forward with the questions and it's going to be fine. It's really just to help us help you, because if we don't know it, we can't really help you then show that.
Addresses are a big
Addresses
thing.
are big.
Did you move? And even with changing your address, making sure that, because if you want to claim business use of home, then I need to know how long were you at the previous home? What is the space of that home? And then how long were you at the new home? And what is the new space in that home? Are there different renovations or upgrades that you did to accommodate for the business, in that way as well. So we end up needing a lot of information, and even some of it could be I was traveling around all last year, so much. Well, then I know on your business return, I should see a bunch of travel expenses and I should see a spike, and without that information, I'm going to be looking for everything to stay exactly the same as last year. So you can even kind of go back to your prior year return and just look at the documents that you provided last year and basically say, okay, well, I'm going to need this same document for this new year. This is what everybody is expecting from me, kind of barring any scenario. There are changes, especially when you have 1099s. You're not going to have the same amount of 1099s, but normally you're going to earn roughly the same amount unless you got a really big job and then you earned a bunch more money, or you weren't working and then you earn less. But there's always an explanation as to why something is different than last year. So especially when you're reviewing your tax return, which you should do every year, look at not necessarily the payment that is due, but the total tax that you owed, and kind of see if that makes sense, you know, because if your income stayed the same, then your taxes are probably going to be roughly the same. But if your income increased, then you'll see an increase in taxes. If your income decreased, then you'll see that decrease in taxes. And then, you know, like that's kind of the gut check. And that's what it really allows us to do. A lot of times in those initial conversations and the interviews, we're trying to figure out what is that gut check, you know, because like I always say, the tax return, it's a story.
Yep.
And it's the story of what happened to you last year. So I need you to tell me, what is it that happened? And then we'll kind of make sure that that is actually reflected in your profit and loss, in your balance sheet, and on your business and personal tax returns. So, I mean, a lot of times, like you said, we need to have copies of all of the bank statements, all of the credit card statements. We need any expenses that you paid out of your personal accounts. So like receipts, the credit card transactions, all of that information, so we can make sure that's added. If you made any really large purchases, we need a description of what it is that you bought. So because I'll see, you know, like I can fill out a tax return and just say equipment. But then when you sell one of those pieces, how do you know which one you sold?
Exactly.
Because we need to write down, what equipment does the business have at this particular moment in time?
Yep.
So if you tell me, you know, it's this camera or it's a MacBook Pro, okay, I can put that in. And then if that breaks and you throw it away, the next year we can remove it. But I need that documentation in order, you know, or at least a little explanation of what it is. You know, if you bought a car, we need the bill of sale. I need to know how much did you pay for it, really, because all I'll see is maybe like a $5,000 down payment, but I need to know the full out the door price of that vehicle. I need to know the year, make, model, all of that fun stuff of the vehicle. You know, any of the upgrades that you do, are they energy efficient? It is a lot of
just
stuff.
a lot of info. Yeah. I think the only other potential scenario, whatnot, or another document would be like a K1. And that's only if like you have a business with someone else and they're doing their taxes somewhere else. Like we need to know when we do your personal tax that there is another thing that like another document and stuff. So I guess just honestly, it could be just one meeting, but just kind of letting us know and then providing the documentation that we need to back up what happened for your year, and we're golden. We can dig through, we can compare and contrast. We can ask if there's any like weird things. We're like, hey, your income was here. You said you worked the whole year. Your income is here. Like, are we missing a 1099? Like, should we wait for that wage and income? So yeah, a lot of it is just like, just give us the gossip. Give us a little bit about yourself, you know? And then like take pictures of your mail, open your mail. And that's to myself as well. Open your mail and take a picture and then send the documents to us. So,
Right. And when you get the requests of, you know, through your email account, some of them do expire. So, I mean, it's not unusual to wait a little while, a year or two, to file your tax return. So if you just say like, okay, well, they sent me a 1099 and I got the email, but I never downloaded it and I never did anything, that link will expire after a certain point in time. So just make sure you are downloading it, have everything all in one safe space, you know, and also don't count on your tax preparer to save all of your documents for you.
Keeping a copy for yourself is very, like, we've definitely had clients that have moved over and they're like, I don't have any of my things. And we're like, okay. Do you have a good relationship with that prior person? Like, can we get a copy? There are some things we can't get copies of, but not everything. Yeah.
And there are like document retention periods, you know, like some tax preparers like very specifically purge after a certain period of time because, like I said, like a tax preparer can be subpoenaed and, you know, it's not like a lawyer where you have, client confidentiality. So after a certain period of time, we may purge your information. So, so you want to make sure that you are aware of what the document retention policies are for the tax preparer, because even if you've been with them for 20 years, that doesn't mean that they have 20 years worth of information for you anymore.
Yep.
So
isn't it the whole thing, like, you are in charge of your information, basically?
Exactly.
So just making sure you have something somewhere of your info that you get, and those e-file confirmations, like those things are really important. Did it actually get filed? So those are great. But we can always help you along the way. Lots of steps we can do when we ask and stuff. So it's not with the intention of overwhelming. It's really just help us help you, and we're more than welcome. And I love explaining the why. Like, I really don't mind that at all. I want you to know why I'm asking for things so that you feel comfortable, but also just understand, like, it is important, so that next year you're already aware and like, hey, I got you. Like, here's your stuff that I know you're going to ask me for, kind of thing. So like, to concise it, how do we say? Financials? Yeah. Definitely. Like, if we're not doing
Give me everything you have as quickly as possible.
Yes.
Time is money.
Yes.
So the faster that I can give you the answer, the faster we can start preparing, the more tax opportunities that I can give to you to save taxes. We can prevent penalties and interest from accruing. So the faster you get as much information to me as possible, the better. And it doesn't have to be complete.
Yep.
Give me 80% of what you have, and I can wait for the rest, but at least I can still give you some sort of feedback, you know? So I am definitely not looking for everything to be perfect and be pretty. I just want the information. I'm just kind of keeping that in mind.
Yep. And if it would constitute, you could change your insurance, tell us about that event. So marriage, giving birth to children, adopting children, having a dependent of a parent, or caretaking, any of those, like, if it's a major life thing that you could then go and change something else, like, we probably need to know about it to make sure that that's reflected and like everything's like in the clear and we have all that info. So so not too bad. It's not too crazy. Just give us everything and then we'll be great. But at least 80%, and then we can at least get started, and as soon as possible. And gonna go from there.
So if you have any questions about kind of what documents we would need to be able to sort out your tax return or provide more feedback on your tax situation, feel free to put a comment below or send us an email, and we can talk through your particular situation.
Bye, guys.
That's a wrap on Let's Get Fiscal. Ready to stop guessing and start saving? Click the link in the show notes, grab your consult, and let's make your business work for you, not the other way around. You've got this.